Hello everyone, welcome back. It is a Sunday and time for me to share with you how we're going to make these little pouches for the mini journals. So I hope you're keen to follow along. Now of course you can do this with any fabric. This is just my own fabric but you know, you could do this, as I say, with anything at all. You could even do this for a bigger journal as well. All right, I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for all the most amazing birthday messages. You're so kind, and I'm wading through them, and really I do feel so blessed to have this community in my life. So thank you so much. You make every single day a blessing for me. You really, really do, and I love chatting with you. All right, so I'm going to move on quickly. As you can hear, Abby's in the background wanting to make herself heard because she wants a treat from me, but she's had one. And you know, if you have dogs, especially Shih Tzus, they just never stop. Every time I look like I'm going to head towards the cupboard where the treats are stored, she's there. And you know, she might be snoring, but she'll be there. Anyway, right, now what do you need? We're going to make one of these, and it's going to house our little mini journals that I like to do. So that's the first thing. And I'm going to just share with you what you need. So first of all, you'll need a piece of fabric. So the fabric that you want to cover your journal with. Mine is 18 inches in length and 9 inches across. So you're looking at just short of 23 centimeters by just 45.5 centimeters, that way, there or thereabouts. All right, then you want a lining piece of fabric. So I'm using this is Liberty of London. I cut this the same width, so it's 9 inches or just short of 23 centimeters and 12 centimeters in length. Okay, 12 centimeters is 30.5 centimeters. 12 inches, sorry, is 30.5 centimeters. You want a piece of lace, and you want whatever you want to decorate it with. I'm using this beautiful Capure lace because it's, you know, with the hearts, and I love it. I'm using a couple of daisies. Now, as I said, you can use any decoration. The daisies are great because if you want to pack this away or whatever, this is flat, but of course you can put anything on here, and then it just becomes more of a showpiece rather than a functional item. Okay, I have got a magnet, so I'm using a magnet for my closure. You don't have to have a magnet, you could just use ribbon or whatever you want. This is encased in little pouches, so this is perfect for me who's useless with magnets. All right, so that's as far as the materials are concerned, and as far as your sort of tools are concerned, what you really want is a ruler. So I'm just going to use my metal ruler. This is just for measuring. You can use measuring tape. You want some thread, so I'm using this I love Gutermann. I like the quality of it. So I'm using the Gutermann thread, and I know someone's going to ask me, so I'm just going to tell you the color is 659. It's a perfect match. All right, so there we go. You want some pins and a needle to stitch with by hand. If you have a sewing machine, you can use this. You don't have to have a sewing machine to do this. There is very little I'm using the sewing machine for, in fact. You could sew this by hand, so that's good. Half of it is going to be sewn by hand. Right, you want some fabric glue. I've got my Fabri-Tac in here. Okay, so you want that. You want something to push out the corners, and I tell you, the bone folder does it perfectly. So we're intermingling with craft tools here. You want some kind of, I'm using a pencil, but if you've got dressmaker's chalk, that would work as well. You're not going to see it, so it doesn't matter. And you want a good pair of scissors, so that's what you want there. I think that's everything. Oh, and for me, my glasses, so I can actually see what I'm doing. All right, so that's everything that we need. So let's make a little start here. I've got my this is my little pin cushion that Paige made me when she was about 10 out of one of her socks, bless her, and it's got a 10-year-old sewing skills. She wanted me to put it on my wrist, you see. Such a sweetie, and I just love it. I've got a proper one, but you know, the things your kids make are always precious, aren't they? Right, so let's get going. I'm going to just take all these goodies and put them to the side there quickly. All right, there we go. And you want to start with using this top piece here. Now this is where you want a couple of pins. I like to put them in my mouth for some reason, and I can hear my mother saying, don't put the pins in your mouth, ruins your teeth. Did you have that when you were growing up? Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to take your top lining fabric and you want to pin it to a certain height. Now I'm sure I said it was 4 inches. Yes, okay. God, you know, when you do these things, you start going dilly. Right, so right side facing you, okay? You want not the underside. You want to put the right sides together here. And you want to turn it up 4 inches. Now 4 inches, gosh, that was almost perfect. 4 inches is 10 centimeters. Okay, so when you've got 4 inches, measure on both sides. So we've got our right sides together and we folded it over 4 inches. So what I want to do is I just want to take my pin. Did it move now? This is me being ridiculous. I know. Okay. And then you want to pin it here. I'm doing it side on because I'm going to use my sewing machine. So that way, just one pin is fine. If you're not confident and you want to put loads of pins in, that's also fine. Do whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm going to just use the one. Right, so I want to just get this under here. Oh, I cut my finger yesterday. Something awful over here. As you can see, like the whole, it was just terrible. I've just taken the plaster off because it stopped. It's healing now, but gosh, it was with my very sharp shears and I was cutting ribbon, and as I pulled it down like this, I went like this and it caught me in the finger. It was awful. I'm feeling sorry for myself. I told Abby I've got a sore paw. She looked very sad for me, bless her. Right, so we've got that there. Now with the bottom one, just put that to the side for a minute. Oh, it still feels awful when I bend it. Right sides again together. You want to fold this one over 5 inches. 5 inches is, I think, 12.5 centimeters if I'm not mistaken. I just want to get it to the 5-inch mark. Right, there we go. And I'm sure that's about, yeah, 12 and just over 12.5. All right, so you want to get that right. Let's just make sure with these things. This is the thing about sewing. Just, you know, be accurate and consistent. It's a bit like maths. What you do to the left, you do to the right kind of thing. Right, again, I'm just going to put 2 little pins in here, and that's just to keep it right. And when you're not sure, just double check that nothing's moved. Right, there we go. What I want to do is, you don't want to sew all the way to the top. All right, so I am going to measure on this one 1/2 inch from the edge here. So from this edge, 1/2 inch down, I want to draw a little pencil line. Now, pencil works for me. I love pencils. And I'm going to draw that straight across there. Right, where is the other pencil mark? Now the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to fold this back and I'm going to hem it when I am done. Now also I want to just get it to the edge there so that I know when I am sewing this, I'm not going to go beyond that point. So I'm going to stitch it up like that and I'm going to stop there so that I can fold this back. Right, on both sides. I'm just making sure. Gosh, it's bucketing. Right, and so that's half an inch. Okay, with this one here, it's 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch, and I'll tell you what that is in centimeters. So 3/4 there. Oh my gosh, it's hailing. That's what it is. It's hailing and it's hitting the windscreen. The windscreen. I'm not in the car. It's hitting the window. Okay, so you want to draw your line here. It was sun shining 5 seconds ago. That's what we live with here. But, you know, every day's interesting. So that's 1 3/4 centimeters, all right? Or 3/4 of an inch. This one's 1/2 inch. It's all a bit pale. Now, you won't see this, so don't be afraid to draw on the fabric. Okay, and what is that in centimeters? That is just about 1 centimeter. Okay, so that's what we've got there. So again, you're going to stitch 1/2 inch from the edge. What's 1/2 inch? I think it's 1.2 centimeters. on both sides, and you're going to stop at those lines there. So you want to start there and you want to go down, and you're going to start there and you're going to go down. We're going to end up ironing that backwards. All right, let me go and do that quickly, and I will rejoin you in a second. Okay, so I have just sewn straight stitch across there. I've made good double backed stitches on each end. And I encourage you to do that whether it's by hand or by sewing machine. Sorry, I've got glue and everything all over me. All right, so I've done that for both bits, and as you can see, I've stopped at the pencil line that we drew there. Now, what I haven't done is, because I have a very basic sewing machine, it only really does straight stitch and zigzag, and because this fabric is very fine, it doesn't really help to do the zigzag. It sort of crunches it all up. So what I am going to do is just to finish the edges. If you've got an overlocker or, you know, a machine that has different finishings, you're welcome to do whatever you choose. I'm going to just use my old-fashioned pinking shears, and I'm going to just trim this on the edge here just to make sure that it's not going to fray. That's it. So yeah, I'm just going to do that up to this point over there, and do that over here as well. Turn it around, I think it's easier for me. Right, so it doesn't matter how much you trim off when you're pinking, it's just to preserve the fraying, unraveling. Okay, so there we've got that there. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to just miter this corner. That means you want to cut a 45-degree angle. Don't go right up against there. I'm going to just get it like that, if you can see, and the same on this side. So not quite at the edge, it's just so that we can get nice sharp points. And you want to do the same with this one as well. So just want to take off the bulk. Okay. All right, you're going to have some sewing skills today if you've never sewn before. Right, now remember the pencil line we had there, that we want to fold over. I want to get that folded over. Now you can just do it like this, and I've got strong nails, so you can just use your nail and get it in place. You can, but I have brought up my iron, and I'm going to show you on this one. So you want to just get it folded over. That's where we're going to hand stitch. All right, and this one as well. So you want to just get it over on that line there, like that. So I've just got my ironing mat. It's a nice ironing mat, just to show you, and then hopefully you can see. I'm going to just take my iron, and it's a steam iron because this is drill fabric, which is almost like a denim. Okay. And I do a lot of ironing when I'm sewing, because that way I think you get a better result. All right, so you've got that edge nice and sorted. So at this point you want to be able to turn this inside out, I mean right side up effectively. So we're going to do that, and this is where the bone folder comes into play, or a knitting needle, anything like that if you don't have a bone folder. And cross-purposing the tools. Right. So just take your bone folder, knitting needle, whatever, and then gently just push out the corner, the point. There we go. And then this one. There we go. Right. So that one's all good there. It's going to lie nice and flat. Want to give it another little press. Like that. Okay, so we're good to go with that one. Okay, and then with this one you're not going to turn it inside out, because this is going to be what you see. So we're going to now fit this in here. Now before you do that, while I've got the iron here, I'm going to just iron across that area. Okay, but what I also found is if I take where I've stitched there and I just iron that back a bit as well, along the edge here as well. So I'm going to just extend where I've stitched here. It just makes it easier. It's not a must. It's just, you know, what I do if I want a nice, easy, lots of steam, sorry. I hope that's not affecting the camera. And just fold it over in line with what you have there already. Okay, so let's just turn the steam off. Okay, and the same over here. Sewing today, it's good to change things up a bit, isn't it? So I hope you're gonna give this a go yourself. Right, so I just want to get that bit right. Do you know, I'm not an ironer of clothes. I don't like ironing clothes. I make sure I hang them out in such a way they don't require any ironing. I learned that skill from my mother. The only thing I iron are the things in my craft room. How sad is that? That we wouldn't have got away with that years gone by, would we have? Right, so this is all good to go, and you've got your little seams all steamed in place. I'll just do this one again. So that's going to help when you're doing your little bit of hand stitching. Okay, so now what we want to do now is I'm dying to try and fit it in there, but I'm going to hang off on that. What I want you to do now is take this edge here. All right, you can open it right up and take this edge here. Okay, you want to join these two together, right sides together, as they say. Get it right from the edge there and right from the edge there. Okay, right, so you want to just put in some pins. I'll put the pins side on for those of you who are not sewers. I know that if you are a sewer, you know this already, so I'm not teaching you anything. It's just so that if your needle goes over it with the sewing machine, it's not going to break. All right, but any which way which suits you. Okay, so right sides together. We've done that at the top, and I'm going to go and stitch across there now. All right, so let me do that and I will be back. Okay, so I have just stitched along there now. I've just turned that out flat and just press that gently across there, so like that. Right, now we can turn that back. Now if you want to get fancy, and I did it on my first one, you can top stitch on there. It's not a necessary, or just do a little slow stitch, you know, that would look pretty as well. So we've got that in place. Now what I like to do is, this is the point where I like to turn this over and again sew those little seams in place. So we've already done it on this side. It's just a case of doing it on this side as well. So again, we want to just line those up, and you've got the two sides already, you know, from the stitching on this side and the one that we did over here. So just get those nicely lined up again. So just pull it a little bit. It's sort of just go where you need it to go. So there's that side. Right, so you've got these little edges sewn over like that. So it's all looking quite neat. Yeah. Now what we want to do is, this is the little pocket side and this is the top side. So what you want to do now is we want to fit this into our little pocket. So now this can be tricky, but I'll show you what you do with two pins just to make it easier. When I first did it, I thought, oh, it's not going to fit. It does fit, don't worry. As long as you've kept your seam allowances the same. Right, so you want to just use your bone folder just to tuck it in. I'm just pressing those little corners into the corners, a bit like when you're putting the duvet into the cover. All right, so you want to just match up the corners there and there, and then you can take two pins. You want to tuck that over and over, and remember you've got this a little bit lower because this is longer. You want to get that there, so you're leaving it about 1/2 inch down, and we'll just put the pin in there for the minute, and then the same over here. Turn that around. This is the fiddly part, I suppose. Get that bit tucked in over there, and then you can feel the seam there. Those just two need to line up. Make sure that that distance is the same as that distance. All right, and I'm just gauging it. So then you can put a little, probably this way, ow, and then I'll just move this one around as well, like that, and do it this way because the pin can't bend around a seam, can it? So there we go, that will go like that. All right, now when you push that out, then it'll all lie pretty decently in there. Now we're going to hand stitch this in a bit, all right, so don't worry about that. We still got to put in our magnet, and you've got your top bit like this, and because we've ironed it all, and we're going to hand stitch it, you've got a little bit of leeway just to faff a bit with it, with your seams that you've ironed. So you might have gone a little bit skew somewhere, probably not, but I'll probably just tuck this bit in a little bit more than that bit. Okay, and there you can see it's lining up pretty well. Now what I want to do now is, now you've got the actual size of how it's going to look, before we stitch anything up, we've got a few things we want to do. On that side, that's what needs to go a little bit further in. I'll deal with that in a moment. Right, so what you want to do here is, you're now able to see where you want to put your lace and everything. So you've got your pouch bit there, and you put your journal in. You're going to fold it over like that. Okay, now what I realized is that I just want to get this folded down just to show you where to put the lace. Okay, so what I decided, I wanted to put the lace a little bit higher this time than that. So I measured, I think it was 4.5 inches. Yeah, 4.5 to 4.75 inches from this line here. So with your selvage, it would be 5. So over there. So at 4, and I'm just looking here. Whatever you do here, just do the same on that side. I'm making a little line with my pencil. I'm going to do the same here and the same there. Okay. So when you open this up, I'm going to just take this out. I can't at the minute. When I turn this over, you'll see your pencil marks there and there. I just want to draw a line there. So there we go. Now you're not going to see this pencil line, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we've got that there. And now what I want to do is I want to take my lace. So I'm going to take my hearted capure lace, and I'm going to get that positioned over here. Something like that. All right, so this is where the glue comes into play. So I'm going to use my 3-in-1 beacon. Just grab this first one, Fabri-Tac, it's the same thing. And I'm going to put it on the line and a little bit below, just to stick it down. And this does a brilliant job. We're going to tuck the corners into this bit here as well. So you want to get that down before you sew up the sides. So don't put that far away, we're going to use it again. So I'm going to get this, and have I got it the right side? That's the right side. Okay, so decide how you want it. I'm going to get half my heart there, and then I'm going to just follow along here like that, so that I've got pretty much half the heart there. Okay, press that down. This is why I'm full of glue. Then I took this and I ironed the ribbon as well. It was a bit wrinkled in at one spot, so I just ironed it. And you want to just put some glue on top of the hard bit, and you want to just stick that on top of that edge there. So I'm just following this second line like that, and then you can leave this to dry, okay, for a little bit. The daisies we'll add on last, so it's just so that I can catch these edges. Now this is a good point that you might want to just cut off any excess lace that you have. And I'll probably end up trimming it yet again, but you don't want to bulk up the bend too much. All right, so we've got that done there, and while that's doing its drying thing, I'm going to sort out the magnets. All right, so we're all sorted, ready to go. We've got to put our little magnets in now, and again, you'll want to use your Fabri-Tac glue. So what I've done here is the magnets come together and they will naturally just go together like that. Now the sort of, to check which side that is, just check. I mean, it'll stick that side but not as strong. Okay, so the domed bit is sort of not the bit that we're going to, that's the bit we want to glue down effectively. Now the flat side is what you want to have up, and that's the side actually I'm going to put glue on. So I'm going to start over here, and what you'd want to do is decide where the measurement is. It's 8 inches, but you want to get the middle mark, so it's over here. Get a little pin just so that you know. Okay, now we haven't stitched this down, and you want to get this magnet underneath this flap here. All right, so just check which side it is. That's the side you want to stick up like that. So I'm going to get glue on here. Gosh, I hope I'm making sense to all of you. I feel like I'm stumbling over my words today. I'm getting my Fabri-Tac liberal amounts over this lot here. And I'm going to now pick this up, and using my pin as a guide, that's the middle mark of the magnet. So I'm just checking it out here, and I've got my sight set here. I'm going to just tuck it underneath, just below the fold line. Okay, just below, and I can see my little mark. There's the fold line. I'm going to put this over like that. I'm going to press it, and that's now tucked underneath there. Yeah, so there's that side done. Now we want to double check which side is the right side, and it should be the flat side. Yeah, like that. And now leave that there. Take this and decide exactly how far down you want it to be. Now for me, based on the one I made before, it's a total of 6 inches. You can make that more or less if you want. And so yeah, that's exactly where you want it to be. Now when I lift this up, I'm just taking my pencil. I'm just going to make a little spot there. A little spot that you can hardly see. It's just above my leaf over there, and that's fine. I'm now going to put, I want this to be, the flat side to be on this surface, not that way. So I'm going to stick it up against that surface. So this is the flat side, and I'm going to put glue on there. This works really well for this. And then pick it up. I've got glue everywhere. I do apologize. Okay, I've got my little spot there, and I'm going to get it. Now you can see I'm just sticking it there on that piece. And there is a bit of a seam, but it's going, my seam's going down, so I'm hoping that I've got it straight. Can you see? I want to just get it so it's not on there, so I'm just sticking it further up. Give it a good press. There we go. We can always iron again when we need to, and I will do before I go and stitch this all down. Okay, so we've got all of that there. This is the point now where you can adjust your seams accordingly. So I want to make this one just slightly wider because I think I went a bit too much. was more than 1/2 centimeter in on the outside here. So I'm just adjusting that. So let's just take our little mat and the iron, and as I say, just adjust your seams. All right, so we've got that all doing its thing. Once you've hand stitched it, you're able to manipulate your fabric to lie flat. All right, so let's get that level there and this one here, and then we are good to go. All right, so everything looks pretty good so far. Before I close this up and stitch it, this is the point where you want to take your lid and check that that is going to line up and it's perfect. And I've got my 6 inches there, so we're good now to close this up. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my cotton thread. So you want a needle, right? So I've got everything pinned in place here now, so we've got that there, and you can see I've taken it really close just to the inside of that there, and the same on this side, and you've got these little bits sticking out like that. All right, so we're going to fix that now. So you want your needle and thread. So I've got my needle and thread here, and I've made a little bit of a knot at the end. So I'm just going to get that into the top here, the top corner, underneath that seam, and tuck it in. And we're going to do a little bit of a slip stitch going on here. So you want to tuck in the lace before you stitch over that. So tuck that in. You can glue it if you want. I'm going to just pin it, and you want to just pin that in place. So go right through like that. All right, tuck that in. As the joy of hand stitching is that as you go, you can do what you want it to a lot easier than on a sewing machine. All right, so now all you want to do is you're going to just sort of hem this, do like a blind stitch. So I'm going to just get a little bit here. I'm not going to do this all on the video. You'll be glad to know I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Just taking a little thread from that side, and I'm going over to the other side. This is not a nice needle, and just give it a little pull, and I'm going to do that. Just pick up a little thread from this side, and I've now come up there, and I'm on the other side, and I'm going to just, it's stiff fabric, so you know, and I'm going to do that all the way along there. So there's just one more, few threads, getting my words wrong, and my hands have gone numb, so I'm just using the table now. All right, and then you're going to do that all the way down to there. All right, and then you want to do the same on that side there and that side there. So when you come down to this bit here, then I would pin that along here, you know, pin it in place. So once you've stitched it in place with the seam there, tuck it in. All right, go over that bit, line up the seams, and then stitch along there. Pin it, I would. It just helps you to make sure that you're not going to have a puckered end when you get to the end. All right, and then, as I say, you'll have everything ready. It's already stuck on the magnet. All right, so that's how that works out. And then it's just a case of putting on your little daisy. So that's really easy. Just with glue I did that. So I'm still going to stitch this down. And then it's just take your daisies, and you can find the right and the wrong side. So that's the wrong side. And again, just use your fabric glue. And then decide where you want the first one. So I'm going to put it there. And then I did trim off these daisies. I'm just checking that's the wrong side. You get a little rogue thread with the yellow bits at times. I think that's the wrong side. And don't be shy with the glue. All right, and then get that. This is the end of my bottle. In place. All right, so I'll do that last. Get your goodies stitched, and then when it's stitched, as you can see, you can't really see much on the way of stitching. All right, and then you've got another pouch. And as I say, I like it with the lace a little bit higher. So that was measuring it. I think I said 4 3/4 inches from where you stitched. But either looks beautiful. Okay, guys, I hope that you give this a go. And I hope that you've enjoyed this. I am going to go and stitch that now and finish it off because it'll bug me if I don't. And you know, you could make these throughout the year for Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, and have them on hand. You can do them in all fabrics. And I think I'm going to put some more into the shop. Let me know if you're keen about that. We can do a few more. All right, go and have a lovely Sunday and do whatever it is. I see the sun's come out now. We've had sunshine, hail, rain. We've had it all. I just haven't had snow today, but you know, it's all in the UK weather. You got to love it, and I mean, I love it. Right, everyone, I'm talking rubbish. I'm going to go now and leave you. I'll see you on Tuesday for another exciting video. I've still got a couple of bundles left in the shop, so go and have a look out for those. And then the new kit and everything is on a sale. All right, see you soon. Bye bye.